Testing, mic check. Cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns. Hello, hello, friendos. My name is Nez, and once again we are back for some more Arknights. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but truth be told, my body clock is all sorts of fucked up again. I only had like 4 hours of sleep today, just trying to reset it. But alas, we had to wake up. I woke up early, and I had some dinner, and I had a couple hours before we had to start stream today. So this is usually the time where I just share whatever's been going on off stream. A lot has actually been going on, to be frank. So I edited the first part of our first impressions of the character reveals they did for the Endfield operators on the Endfield website. I just put that out in the middle of the day, thinking nothing of it. And apparently it turned out to be one of my most controversial videos yet. 2 hours later into uploading it, it had like an 80% dislike ratio, but now it's stabilized around 53%. People did not like that I shit on Wolfguard. So anyway, that was hilarious. I actually lost subs from that video. So that was fun. I don't take it too personally. If people are gonna get that up in a bunch about PNGs, I'd rather not have them be subscribed. I already felt like I went way too easy. I was holding back on that stream. I was really holding back on Wolfguard in that stream already. So, I was already being kind to Wolfguard during that stream. But anyway, I did understand that Wolfguard's definitely not a character for me. Hello, Yanderis. Good to see you again, friendo. There are over 200 plus characters in Arknights. I'm not gonna end up liking every single one in the same equal way. So, it is what it is. People did not like that video. We actually lost some subs from that, but it's fine. It's more of a funny moment than an actual serious one for me. I've been in worse kinds of drama. I've made worse videos that have pissed real people off. But pissing off gacha gamers is not my priority to get mad at. But anyway, so that was the one thing that happened in the off stream. Another thing that happened is, well, apparently, like last Friday, I was just browsing Twitter, and then I saw one of the writers of Baldur's Gate 3 tweet out that they enjoyed Lone Trail, and it was definitely a hype moment for me because one of the writers of BG3 and Divinity Original Sin 2, two of my favorite games of all time, recognized Real. They praised Lone Trail, and they enjoyed it. So I just took a screenshot of that, and then I shared it on Reddit. So it reached the front page of Reddit, and then hold up, let me just bring it up. It reached the front page of Reddit, and then I enjoyed the discussion that went along with it. So we have Ivory. They're one of the they were writers for both BG3 and Divinity Original Sin 2, but they're no longer working at Larian, so maybe their contract's up. But yeah, I just found it to be a fun share, just to share my excitement at the event. I enjoyed the discussion that happened on Reddit after that, so I went to sleep that day thinking not much of it again. and then a meme account on Twitter picked it up and Signal boosted it again. So this repost now has, like, can't see the views, but it has a lot of views now. It has a lot of reposts and engagement. And I think people are celebrating that Arknights finally got some recognition from some big name people, because usually we don't see a lot of mainstream recognition for gacha games for good reasons, because, you know, gambling is garbage. The whole monetization of gacha games is absolute garbage. But there are truly great creatives behind many gacha games, writing their stories, making the characters and the worlds for them. So this was a mainstream breaking moment for a lot of people. They felt that they were seen. So that was a thing. My screenshot of Ivory went viral, so much so that they had to lock their account because I was starting to see a bunch of weirdos. I started to see a bunch of weirdos at them in the comments, calling them a disgusting lesbian shipper. That's not cool. Bro, that's not fucking cool. So they locked their account. I sort of feel embarrassed now for spreading the word. I just felt excited at the time. Consider this my unofficial apology to Ivory. I feel too embarrassed to message them straight up about spreading the word. So that's my bad. I'm sorry. I directed a bunch of weebs at you. That's my bad. I just got too excited. So anyway, please do not bother this person any more than appreciating them from afar. Please. And thank you. So anyway, that was that. A writer from Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2 praising Arknights Lone Trail. That was my post. Which got reposted by a meme account and then I got no credit for it. Okay, dude. At least acknowledge me and give me a like. Come on, dude. Anyway, I don't care too much about it. Imaginary internet points are imaginary. So anyway, that was that. That's what happened in the off stream while I was trying to reset my body clock. But anyway, aside from that, I've been religiously watching Kyo's Endfield streams. I've been watching every single one of them religiously for the past few days. And I got my own impressions on the Endfield technical test. So anyway, I guess we'll make this into a video in itself. So let's try to get the intro down at least. Hello, friendos. My name is Nez. And this weekend was the start of the Endfield technical tests for the Chinese servers. They're finally testing and letting people try out the gameplay for the upcoming gacha game, Arknights Endfield, sequel to the critically acclaimed, apparently, Arknights video game. So, I got a lot of thoughts about the technical test. I've been bouncing around from it's Jover to we are so back to it's Jover all throughout the weekend. It's been pretty funny, actually. But so far, by at least the mid part of this, so at least by the end, have you seen the prologue of Endfield? I believe Doctor and Endfield are the same based on the dream sequence. I have seen it. We might actually be reacting to it today, so we have some more content. So yeah, anyway, my conclusions about the current ongoing technical test is that it is looking good. The combat is pretty rough, especially regarding the AI, because sure, it might be fun to have your entire party fighting enemies with you, but if the party can't take care of itself and you have to constantly babysit them from getting damaged or getting killed by AoEs and one-shot mechanics, that's gonna feel bad. So hopefully, they can improve the AI and also maybe add different types of behaviors for how you want your team to act, even if you're not controlling them. The AI is pretty jank. So far, the world, the presentation, the sound design, and the music is absolutely immaculate. It is perfect. I have no complaints. It looks exactly like the 3D animated PVs that they do for regular Arknights. It's like the PVs came alive and that they made an entire video game around it. AI problems, nothing special. Most alpha tests have bad AI. Yeah. So anyway, the combat's looking pretty rough, in all honesty. We don't know how difficulty will scale with Endfield because we've only seen a few early game boss fights, plus the mobs that are just scattered around the world. How they're gonna scale encounters and make them challenging, but also won't just be the usual use big numbers to overpower this encounter and you don't have to think about it. Because that's the real risk with these kinds of mainstream targeted gacha games, is that they run the risk of targeting the mainstream audience, in that so it's not really gonna be that challenging from early to mid game to maybe even late game. And my fear is that Enfield might not meet the expectations of veteran Arknights players. Because Arknights, as we all know, it can get pretty hard and complex at times. And that's one of the niches that make Arknights Arknights. So the pillars I consider to describe Arknights, the pillars I describe to Arknights are basically great story, great world building, great gameplay, and great characters. Those are the things that I expect from Endfield. So I'm not quite sure about the gameplay just yet. The combat side of the gameplay, the story, the cinematics, the in-engine cinematics seem very well done. My only issue is that the second tier cutscenes that they use for dialogue between characters is kinda dull. It's not that dynamic. So that's one issue I have with the current implementation of the dialogue system. Maybe they could improve it later on in the future. Who knows? So my concern with the story is thus. I hope they don't drop the ball on story. Because there are only going to be 4 characters in your squad, I'm assuming the ratio of overall characters will not be as ludicrous as normal Arknights, because we have 12 slots in our squad. So that's why we get a shit ton of characters every single event and per update. But since there's only 4 in our party in Enfield, there's gonna be a lower amount of characters releasing per same amount of time. So hopefully, my hope is that they get to focus more on fleshing out those existing characters, because there's gonna be less of them. I hope that they get more fleshed out storytelling and some characters don't get ignored. This also ties into kinda like Angelina and stuff. The story is worse from chapter 1 to 4 in OG Arknights. It's very empty, no tension, no real goal, and the story feels like an afterthought. Now that's just a similar thing that you find in many gacha games. Because gacha games, they will live... You can only judge them... These kinds of live services, you can only judge them 2 years into their lifetime. So, these things are usually low cost to produce, but if they succeed, they get a ton of returns. So the story is usually... The early game story in many of these games take very little risks, and the moment that they find footing and foundation in a solid profit margin, that's when the writers are allowed and they get paid to write better stories. It is what it is. Because you can't pay your writers to bring out a banging story for the start of a game, and then if the game fails, well, it kind of messed up. They have to focus on player retention first at the start of a game, start of a game's life cycle. Honkai Star Rail started very strong. I don't know anything about Honkai Star Rail. I avoid all MiHoYo games. Arknights is the only gacha game I play. It is the only gacha game I tolerate, so I don't know. So anyway, the story is going to be very important for Endfield, and unlike smaller gacha games, which aren't high budget AAA, which aren't high budget AAA things, as in they don't have a lot of backing. Endfield is definitely high budget, so my standards are absolutely raised for it. There is no excuse if the story turns out bad, or if the gameplay turns out bad, because all of the gacha game blood money that comes from Arknights, all the millions that's going into Arknights and getting invested into Enfield, I expect that. I expect actual returns from that. Hyperglyph Hypergriff is a company, and they are producing a product. Endfield seems to be their most expensive product yet, made from all of the gacha game blood money that Arknights made, so I'm expecting Endfield to actually be good. If it's not, that'll be disappointing, but it is what it is. So far, it is looking good. The gameplay in itself, I'm half and half on the gameplay. The combat, honestly, the combat could be mediocre, but if it's carried by strong story and the strong base building gameplay, I'm all for it. I'm fine with that. So anyway, the world of Endfield is, honestly, not gonna lie, I think I love it, and it's pretty well designed. So it's not really a wide open world that you could just run indefinitely for an amount of time, and then you'll reach different places like that. It's segmented in instances, like an MMO like Final Fantasy 14, except the level design is very layered, it's very dense. It's kinda like, it's similar to how CD Projekt Red designed Night City for Cyberpunk 2077. Even though it's not a huge open world that you could just run around in, the different instances, or levels, let's call them levels, there's so many ways to loop in and around it that it's actually kinda well designed. Not gonna lie. The mob placements are not all throughout a level. They're mostly like progression gates. They guard your progression from proceeding in places. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed about the world design of Endfield. At least the initial opening area that people are allowed to test as of this moment. So, Kyo and the rest are now in their day 3. You agree? Because the band didn't have variation country like OG Arknights. So yeah, Kyo and the rest, they're now in like day 3 of playing the technical test. The progression in the technical test is definitely not gonna be like the one that'll go live. That's for sure. Because they're already reaching level 70s, at least on one main character. And then they're hovering around 50s on their off characters. The progression, I love that it's tied to the base building. It is definitely satisfactory and Factorio-like. Just from that alone, I could say I'm gonna enjoy the game because I enjoy sim games like those. So the progression, it's probably not gonna be as fast as what's currently seen in the technical test. It's probably gonna be slower and different. Who knows how slow it'll be when it goes live. While Endfield looks good, you're expecting it to be less popular than Wuthering Waves and Hoyoverse games. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a thing. Because Arknights, it's already a niche game in itself. Tower defense is a very niche genre. And also, the base building, I could definitely see the mainstream audience get... I can definitely see people get... What do you call that? What's that word? Overwhelmed. People will definitely get overwhelmed by all the base building because that is inherently tied to your progression. Hello, Kuma Sketch. You're gonna enjoy the base building part? Me too. I'm absolutely hyped for the base building part. I will spend hours just trying to optimize base building. But the thing is, base building is a puzzle in itself. And what do we do as Arknights players when we encounter a puzzle in Arknights that we can't solve? We just look up a fucking guide. To be honest, if you can't be bothered to build your base and optimize it on your own, somebody is gonna solve that for you, and you could just copy their layout, and you could just move along and enjoy the rest of the game. It is what it is. Somebody's gonna solve the base building part. The Factorio and Satisfactory players are gonna optimize the shit about every minute detail down to the last square that you could optimize in your base. People are gonna solve that. You're gonna copy the standardized layout for the best base, for the best efficiency possible. And then we're gonna move along with our day. It's only for the Arknights fan base, but you're still waiting for the game release. You're afraid you can't follow the content. Anyway, it's still ways out from now. It's just a technical test. It's barely even like 0.14 version number for Endfield. There's a lot of development to go. But I will say, I am impressed at the polish of this technical test. So far, the only bugs I've seen were from people that actively sought out bugs, like Ciel. I was watching Ciel's stream a couple hours ago, and they were going out of bounds consistently, falling down into the world consistently. So there's that. Fun bugs, whatever. Better that they find bugs now than they find it on launch. Funny how most people's chats in Kyo's stream and others and streamers usually surprise how much hours they're playing. I mean, Kyo is playing hours a day. It's addicting. If you're into the base building and the optimization part of that gameplay loop, you're gonna be there for hours. And it's not gonna make for good stream content, not gonna lie. But if you're playing it yourself, you will lose, and you enjoy it, you'll lose hours to it. But I will agree, it's not that great stream content. I saw some Doom posters saying, "Oh, Endfield sucks because Kyo and the others are losing viewers this late into the technical test." Well, no, they completed all the story and now everyone's optimizing their base and looking for bugs and testing damage numbers. Generally, that's not entertaining content. People want to see the story, people want to see fights. But sitting around optimizing your base, that's for a very specific type of sim-based player. No way CL is playing hours? Yeah. So anyway, there's that. What else do you have to say about it? Oh yeah, Angelina. So Angelina got revealed to be a clone of our original Angelina. And I have some mixed feelings about that. So, where's Angelina? I'ma just bring her up. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? There she is. So yeah, the Angelina in Endfield, if you don't already know. Spoilers, I guess. She's a clone of our current Angelina. Endfield takes place 500 years in the future, past current Arknights. So my thing is, I'm okay if it's only Angelina as the clone. I'm okay if they bring similar characters or descendants like Chen 2. I'm okay if they bring another version of Kelsey with what we see with the new cat girl in Endfield. I'm still assuming that's Monster who took up a new form. That's kind of spoilers if you don't have Kelsey's new remnant skin. I'm assuming the new Kelsey lookalike is actually Monster. I'm okay with all of those. I am not okay with them using the premise of cloning to just bring back fan favorite characters and shoehorn them into Endfield. That's what I'm not okay with. Because what I care about the most is really the story. I'm a story Andy. I'm a world building Andy. And cloning is a can of worms that I wish they did not open, but they have, so there's that now. People in Kyo's chats are now asking, imagine bringing back the Abyssal Hunters. Imagine cloning Frost Nova. Imagine cloning Ace. Oh, Jesus Christ. See what opening the doors of cloning has led to. Imagine if they clone Frost Nova. I don't need them to bring back dead characters because it just diminishes the impact of their deaths in current Arknights. I'm not cool with reviving characters just because they're cool and you want to play with them. There has to be stakes in Arknights. I propose that we leave dead characters as dead Let them rest in peace. I'm okay if they're gonna make a different story for Angelina too, because she's a different person with her own goals. She wants to be like original Angelina. So, but she also wants to go her own path. I'm okay with that. He was asked in a survey about whether they're okay with clones or want OG characters from Arknights. Same case like they make limited banner with alter every time. Yeah. Actually, no. I'm okay with the way OG Arknights does alters because it's a progression of the story. Like, this is something that even Kaiser has said, that he's also okay with the way alters are handled in Arknights because it comes with story first. Like, sooner or later, the story is gonna progress to a point where we really have to touch back on old characters and see what they're doing. Like, we're at a point in Lone Trail where Silence, debatably, she did not need this redesign, but she definitely needed an update to how her current story is ongoing and how more impactful her role is in the Rhine Lab storyline. So, I'm pretty okay with alters being a story thing in progressing the stories of individual characters. Like, eventually Lapland might get an alter because now she has a contract with that Lupo god or whatever. I'm okay with progressing stories in that way. I do not like them cloning fan favorite characters just for the lulz, just to milk old Arknights veterans in the new game. So I got mixed feelings about that. Angelina, I'm allowing her for now because she's technically a new person. She's not the same Angelina. There's leeway to make very creative stories with her, you know, because she's trying to match up to her senpai that lived 500 years ago. But current Angelina barely has any story to her, so we still don't know anything about that. My opinion about Angelina 2 might change over time, but I wish that they flesh out original Angelina a lot more to compensate. Because if we have Angie 2 and Endfield being like, oh, Angie 1 was such a good person, I want to be just like her. Well, we barely know anything about her in the original Arknights, so even that's a blind spot for us. At least flesh out original Angelina first before you start working on Angie 2. Come on, Hypergriff. Come on! You want the Civilized Eterna to return in Endfield? Yeah, the Civilized Eterna is a huge MacGuffin that they might have to address sooner or later. We have this skin for Kelsey, and it looks like she has her own version of the Civilized Eterna. So who knows what happens to it? Maybe it could be shared later on. Maybe its powers of memory sharing and memory manipulation get expanded later on. Because it also ties back into Angelina again. Angelina 2 has the old memories of the old version. However, memory manipulation in Arknights has been limited to two things: the Civilized Eterna and also Holiak. Holiak has the power to she has the power to extract memories, because we saw that happening in Lone Trail. Spoilers, by the way, if you still haven't read it. So these two things might be important in the future because they involve the preservation of memories and shit. I don't know, it might involve Angelina. I'm just putting shit together on the whiteboard like Pepe Sylvia. I'm trying to put things together in my head. How about make another character but the same vibe as Surtur? Like Ember? I don't know about Ember. She seems... I have no opinions about Ember. I truly have no opinions about Ember as a character that's been shown off in the technical test as of the moment. Not a lot of people have been playing Ember, actually. People have been playing the Levitate build. the Levitate party with Angie, with Chen, with Wolf Boy, and then with Fial. Amber, make another character based on Arknights OG, but different name. What are your thoughts? I say just make unique characters for Endfield. Like, the characters that logically can live a long time all the way up to Endfield, like Warfarin, like Closure. Closure's a vampire. Closure can show up in Endfield 100%. Other characters like that, Kelsey. Kelsey's for sure alive in Endfield. I'm okay with them coming back because it's logical. It fits within the story. But if they're just gonna make similar characters, they'll make you reminisce about old Arknights characters. Might as well make new ones at least. So anyway, there's that. What else do I have to say about Endfield? The music. The music has been absolutely immaculate. I very much enjoy the Satisfactory inspired base building music that they have. It's very satisfactory. I love that. The environmental music that they have when you're exploring the world. It's got that synthy grimy tones in it. It sets the mood very well. You hope they bring back the robots in Endfield, but different types of robots. Yeah, they already brought back Lancet too. Not the character Lancet too, but they made her into a healing building. So that's hilarious. Yeah, there should be robots in Endfield. Robot characters in Endfield. My main concern about their characters' design is that they might run the risk of repeating the same silhouettes because it'll be easier on their development pipeline. They might have the same body styles and body types and character types for different characters, and they might just copy and paste them just for development, just for pipeline reasons. But in Arknights, we have way more than just the slender athletic archetypes. I want to see robot characters. Like, I want to see a version of any one of these, like Castle 3, make like a Castle 36 that you could play in Endfield, that you could float around with a jetpack and shit. Maybe he might have different movement options. I want to see different types, different body types. I want to see more beefy dudes like Broca. I want to see shorter characters like our Durins. I want to see our classic furries. We already got a taste of the furries back in Arknights. There's an owl. We got a full-fledged owl man in Arknights Endfield. So that was fun. That's a good sign that they're not playing it safe, at least. Make him into an operator maybe somewhere along the line. Glaucus, I want to see more disabled characters like Glaucus, like Nightingale. Imagine a character in a rocket-propelled wheelchair. That would be sick. Like, really, match the character diversity that is in OG Arknights, and I'm gonna be happy. I want to see a fucking cat. I want to play as a fucking tiny cat in Endfield. Do a Lu Xiaohei collab for Endfield and have this motherfucker be back. Is Xiaohei immortal? I don't know. I don't follow this Chinese cartoon. I don't know the lore behind Xiaohei. Is he immortal? Can we bring back Xiaohei for Endfield? Hashtag bring Xiaohei to Endfield. Some people want to ride the motorcycle in Endfield. I don't think the world is designed for mounts, to be honest. I think it is 100% designed for the zipline, and I'm totally fine for that. It's not a big open world, so even if you have a mount, you're gonna hit cliffs, you're gonna hit walls, you're gonna hit stairs, you're gonna hit elevated platforms that go up and down. So I don't think the world is designed for mounts. Not at all. It's designed for the zip lines though. Kyo has already gotten his zip lines up and it's looking very cool. So there's that. Of course, maybe it could only be the early area. Maybe the later areas are a lot more spread out and wider. Maybe they could add mounts later on. So it's always a possibility, I guess. But I do like the zip lines. The zip lines are great. We did see that there are highways. There are broken highways on Talos 2. There should be some highways. We actually got some lore drops on the Endfield Twitter account. They explained that there's actually a pocket of civilization on Talos 2. It's called the Civilization Band. It's kind of like the last city in Destiny 2. So there's probably a big city within the Civilization Band where most of the Terran settlers settled down in. It's probably one of the safest areas on the planet. It's funny that Angelina has great art but can't has gravity arts but can't fly for herself just yet. That is true. So supposedly Angie 2 has mastered her gravity arts, but Angie 1, she was a messenger and she used her arts to lighten her weight so she could just hop to places without any weight whatsoever as a messenger. So yeah, that's a missed opportunity to add different kinds of movement sets to different kinds of characters. But anyway, I hope that they do expand on the movement options later on. I don't know what else they could add aside from a zipline. Would they add a teleporter? You could already teleport from most of the main waypoints in Endfield. What else could they add? Maybe you could add stairs, like in Death Stranding, where you don't only have zip lines, you could add stairs to cliffs, so you don't have to run all the way around to find a different entrance to a cliff. You could just plop down some stairs, and then it'll be there for the rest of time unless you want to demolish it and shit. That would be good. You could build your world around... You could build your world and customize it the way you want, just like in Death Stranding, and then maybe you could also potentially share the layout of your world with your friends. So even if your friends are new to the game but you already have a bunch of zip lines set up in your game, you add them, you allow sharing of your zip lines, and boom! They have zip lines accessible in their game, just like Death Stranding. I love that about that game. Petting Angeloi. Yeah, we still don't got much to tell. We still don't have much known about the Angeloi. So apparently we got confirmation that Terra made its way to Talos 2 through the rift, the portal in the north past Sammy. And this has been teased since the start of Lone Trail, and it's going to be expanded more in IS4. It is directly referenced in the lore drop video, the prologue video that was dropped when technical test went live. So actually, this is a good time to do some react content. Let's actually react to that lore video. I will just pull it up. Hold up, where is it? Enfield, I'ma put it up. I want to see more. I also want to see more different kinds of archetypes for operators, because for now we only have defenders, casters, and guards. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty disappointed that the Doctor is only a guard as of the technical test. I hope that they could actually change. I hope that they could equip different kinds of weapons, because I don't want to play Guard Knights in Endfield just like regular Arknights. Hold up. I hope the Doctor can at least switch around weapons, and that's their niche. Like, if you want to play ranged Doctor, they could equip a caster staff. That would be cool. But I also hope that they add more I also hope that they add more of the operator archetypes that we know. from regular Arknights. Like supporters, summoners. Imagine a summoner that could summon Agaloys to fight for you. That would be great. Of course, they could just bring back Ling. The corpos at Hypergriff can just decide, hey, let's bring back the Sui siblings, bring back Ling, bring back the Blue Woman, make her a summoner that can summon dragons to fight for you. I'm not opposed to that. Whatever. Just make it as varied as Arknights, whatever. Hypergriff, go off. Go off, Hypergriff. So anyway, I will bring up this thing. Doctor switch to AK-47. Yeah, they should add archers sometime soon. Just for a different style of ranged character. They throw Vanguards. Vanguard's Knights are sads. There are no more Vanguards. Actually, I feel like they could add Vanguards back, but their niche won't be summoning. Their niche won't be making DP, because you already have all characters out. Their niche should be, it should be relating to regenerating your SP, making your skills recharge faster. I think that would be a good niche for Vanguards in Endfield. Because if you don't have your skills in Endfield, it kind of feels bad when you're just saving them for combos and shit. Oh yeah, that's a thing. That's also a thing. I think that they should definitely add either a block, a dodge, or a parry to the combat system. There's already a skill parry that allows you to use skills to interrupt enemy attacks. However, when you have no skills available, you have no defenses, and suddenly all your characters are getting attacked by enemies. They're acting like the AI is acting like dumb fucks, staying in the AoE, and they're getting damaged, they're getting killed. It'll feel bad when you're trying to babysit your characters, you don't have skills to parry. So there should at least be some sort of defensive option, like a block or a dodge. I'm leaning towards more of the block, because that's a lot more. A block is a lot more skillful than a dodge. A dodge you could just spam forever. A block has frames and shit, and could be slower than other forms of defensive options. So yeah, there should be more skill expression to the combat gameplay. It's something that action gamers would definitely find useful. It won't just be spamming skills, and then when your ultimate is up, you spam your ultimate, and then when they're down, you just wait and you wail with basic attacks. There needs to be something that you could do while your skills are on cooldown, and having a defensive option would be a nice form of skill expression. So that's a thing I want. Adding different behaviors to the party members would also be good. Like, if there's an offensive behavior that makes them go all out, activate their skills automatically. If there's a defensive behavior that makes sure that they preserve life more, and stuff like that, make them spread out, stuff like that. The party members, they need to be able to babysit themselves, or else it's just gonna get annoying if they keep dying in higher level content when you're not controlling them. That's just a thing. So anyway, we have the Arknights Endfield special trailer. Let me just have a sip of some soda. Time to hydrate, even though soda is not very good for hydrating. Okie dokie. So, let us react to the supposed prologue to Arknights Endfield. This will play at the very start of the game to get people caught up on the world building and the lore and whatnot. Let's react to it.
I am required to share certain key information with you beforehand, Administrator. Talos 2 is not a peaceful place, and the people are not exactly on friendly terms with outsiders. I believe your first-hand experiences have taught you about that. The pioneers from Terra used the teleport in the polar north to reach this most alien place.
This cutscene is very Destiny 2.
No, that's not quite right. They reached a new planet. And entire
This guy looks a lot like
gave
Ace.
everything they had before civilization could finally sink its roots here. Hostile environments, the blight, and merciless construct lifeforms meant that every moment of these countless years was a desperate battle for survival. Countless people gave up their lives to help civilization reach the scale we see today. As for you, Administrator, you have
Looking
always
like a
turned
lot
the
like
tide
the
in our favor
Doctor.
in pivotal moments during the history of Talos 2. You have felt the pain and witnessed
Suspiciously
everything.
looking a lot like the Doctor.
Of course, you were not always alone. In the past, Endfield Industries always fought alongside you. You are a key technical specialist of the company, and served as a trump card that delivered us from the most trying times. Many fear you, because your course of actions have them worried about their own fate. Some respect you, because your ultimate goal is to ensure that civilization survives and thrives. The Stasis Field Hibernation Pod is also known as Sarcophagus Mark II. Whenever we meet a challenge that we cannot solve or reach a critical crisis threshold, we would
The
activate
sarcophagus.
the device and wake you from your hibernation. No matter how people looked at you, you would always return to that cramped hibernation pod at the end of every crisis and wait for your next awakening. But for this time around, since it's all come down to this, things will be different. Perhaps you remember nothing of me, but this isn't the first time we've met.
You've woken us up multiple times.
As the supervisor of Endfield Industries, my task is to provide you with support on behalf of my company. I hope that you will live up to your past selves, have faith in me and my
Past
fellow colleagues
selves.
at Endfield Industries. Use your power and wisdom to overcome the difficulties and challenges that we may encounter. Welcome to Talos 2, Administrator.
Okie dokie, so that was a lot to take in. Hold up. Let us just run through it. I'ma just bring back the music. Okay, so let's run this back. We got a lot of lore drops just from this prologue video alone. So starting off, this video is very Destiny 2. Like, lowlight, I don't know how much you've played of Destiny 2. I know that you watched the main story compilation that one year. But this reminds me of the cutscene with explaining Saint 14's past when he was still fighting the Fallen on their homeworld. Definitely reminds me of that. So I do say I love it. So yeah, the pioneers from Terra use a teleport in the polar north to reach the most alien place, a new land. So confirmed, there's a northern portal somewhere in the north of Terra. It is the rift that has been teased in Lone Trail, and it's going to show up somewhere along the line in IS-4. This guy looks a lot like Ace. Definitely not a coincidence. Why does this guy look a lot like Ace? Or is every guy with shades and a beard Ace to us? Is this just PTSD? Do we just secretly miss Ace all the time? And entire generations gave everything they had before civilization could finally sink their roots to Talos 2. 500 years of trying to get through the portal, fighting off demons, fighting off the Agaloy. Are the demons Agaloy? Is that it? Is that it? Is that why? Are they so alien that they're not even from Terra? Is that the connection between Arknights and Endfield? We don't know quite just yet. I know the term collapsals come from IS-4. I still have no idea what that means. No spoilers, please. So that's the thing. There's a rift in the north. Demons supposedly stopping us from getting to it. And Talos 2 is on the other side, apparently. And it took generations of getting people through the portal, trying to settle on the new land. The merciless construct life forms meant that every moment of these countless years was a desperate battle for survival. It was not welcoming to its new inhabitants. Now my question is... Hold up. Countless people gave up their lives to help civilization reach the scale we see today. Now my question is... Are the Blight and Originium connected in some way? Because first we had Cancer 1. And then because Cancer 1 was so great, now we have Cancer 2, Electric Boogaloo. We have the Blight. How is the Blight connected? Why is there a new form of corruption in the world aside from Originium? Did we really need Blight as Originium 2? We're gonna have some questions all throughout Endfield because of that. We already know what happens to Oripathy later on in the timeline because of Kelsey's skin. Somewhere along the way, Originium will eventually threaten Terra and take over. So, but we have found a way to suppress Oripathy. And at least the symptoms of Oripathy, if you get to it fast enough, it's within Kelsey's new skin. So at least Oripathy is somewhat controllable in the era of Endfield. But the Blight though, Blight's a new thing. A new thing, quote unquote. Surely, it can't just be Oripathy too. Surely, right? Right? Hypergriff, you're not just gonna repeat story beats like that. Huh? Right? Huh? Come on. So anyway, the admin in this trailer looks a lot like the Doctor in their hood. It is definitely on purpose that they're trying to make you bind those dots together. But somehow I do feel like the Doctor and the admin are two different individuals. Just because, I don't know, just the vibes. I never expected the Doctor to be as young as the admins in Endfield. Because the Doctor is clearly an adult. The admins look like they're in their 18s. So I don't know about that. Maybe it could be a clone thing. Maybe the admins could be Doctor's clone and they inherited Doctor's memories. See what this cloning bullshit opened up. Now that we opened up the premise of cloning in Endfield, we're now gonna have that at the back of our mind with every single character now. Are they a clone? Did they inherit an older character's memories? It's just a bag of worms. I wish they didn't open up, but now here it is. It is what it is. So the administrator, they're a very important person. They're woken up every other time when Endfield Industries is in a crisis. They're a key technical specialist of the company. They're a trump card. A lot of people fear them. Fear these teenagers. They respect these teenagers too, because their goal is the survival of civilization. And if you've read Endfield, you would also know that is now currently the Doctor's goals. So they're kind of overlapping a lot of things between the Doctor and the admins. So anyway, we got the Stasis Field Hibernation Pod, aka the Sarcophagus Mark II. So somewhere along the line, they discovered a new sarcophagus that the administrator uses. We know from Kelsey's skin that Doctor eventually gains access to a new sarcophagus somewhere along the timeline. So yeah, there's that. The only known confirmed person that we have right now that's implied to have a new sarcophagus is the Doctor, and that's by Kelsey's skin. Both are the same, your guess? Yeah, a lot of things are lining up. It still feels weird in some way. There's some weird vibes that I'm getting. Whenever we meet a challenge we cannot solve or a critical crisis threshold, we wake up the admins from their deep slumber. Maybe they're 500 years old. Maybe they could be the Doctor. Maybe they could be something else. We have no idea. But we know as far as we know, the The Endmins are also experts in Originium, but they're also experts in Originium arts. The Doctor in Arknights does not know any arts, or we've never seen him use any arts whatsoever, so that's a big difference. You would always return to that cramped hibernation pod at the end of every crisis, awaiting your next awakening. We're like a vampire. But for this time around, since it's different, we'll stay awake to build our base because we need to optimize shit. The factory must grow. And there's something about Perlica that's very sussy. As we've seen from the gameplay prologue of Endfield, there's a lot of weird bullshit going on around Perlica, and we got some weird dream sequences involving her. I don't know, this bird girl seems very sussy. She's got some mysterious powers behind her, we just don't know what yet. It's only up to speculation for now, but if she's the one that keeps awakening the Endfield, then the Endmin, then she might be just as old as the Endmin, 500 years old, maybe. Didn't Fristran kill all the humans during Lone Trail, leaving Doc the sole survivor of the race? He killed the group that he was protecting, but he already knew. Well, technically, Fristran didn't kill them. He already calculated that he didn't have enough power to revive all of them. Like, the power saved up were beyond their calculations, so it was either use the power for a greater good somewhere else, or keep the power for a bunch of people that would never wake up. They were never going to wake up to begin with. There was a miscalculation along their part. There was no saving them anymore, so he diverted the power to Kristen. So there was that. So anyway, we know that at least his group of humans are dead. We don't know if there's another group protected by a different AI. We don't know. We just saw that saw that one room. There could be more tombs all around Terra. There was a sarcophagus inside Ursus. This sarcophagus, there was a sarcophagus in the middle of Trimounts in what's his face? What's America again? Colombia? Like, the whole point of founding Colombia was to search for the sarcophagus. So we know the location of 2 sarcophaguses. The multiple sarcophaguses are nearby, still in Trimounts, which was guarded by Friston. That's the 3rd location for the sarcophagi. And that's all we have for now. But somewhere along the line, Doctor will find a new sarcophagus. We know that for sure. At least it's implied by the Kelsey skin. And they're gonna improve it into the Mark II. Maybe Closure is gonna upgrade it herself. So this line's very interesting. I hope you live up to your past selves, have faith in me and my fellow colleagues at Enfield Industries. Past selves. What does that mean in this context? Does that mean every single time the Enfield gets revived, they get revived with no memories? But only their expertise? What does this mean? Past selves? So that's a very sussy line. We could read as deep as we want into it, but I think there's no point at this moment. So anyway, we got that. A lot of lore drops. We got our direct connection to Endfield with this. We have to use our power and wisdom to overcome all the difficulties on current Talos 2. So there's that. We have our direct connection with the portal in the north. We know our timeline now, which is 500 years in the future because of details revealed in the technical test. But we still don't know how Rhodes Island and the Doctor fits into all of this. That's gonna be one of the big mysteries going to Endfield. It's gonna be very exciting from a story point of view. So yeah, there we go. The Endfield special trailer. It's the prologue that I'll play at the beginning of the game just to get people caught up. So anyway, that should be that. Do I have any more thoughts about the Endfield technical test? Did I leave anything out? Is there anything else? Talked about music, talked about the world, talked about the gameplay, talked about Angie. Oh yeah, the weapon system, the equipment system, progression. They can bring back other OG characters in the Sleeping Pods Mark II. Maybe. Maybe. The Sleeping Pods. So anyway, we haven't talked about the equipment, the weapon progression system of Endfield. So far, within the technical test, we know that the weapons, it is what it is. We're gonna get a weapon gacha. It's not ideal, but the weapons are at least craftable with our base. They are also upgradable. I think? Not quite too sure. I just know that there are multiple ways to get weapons in Endfield. You could craft up to 5-star weapons, at least for the technical test. 6-star weapons will be available in the gacha. I'm guessing the gacha will involve characters, weapons as trash pulls, and then 6-star weapons that you could also get. It is what it is. They're not gonna be releasing as many operators as we have in current Arknights because you only have 4 characters to work with. The proportion does not line up, so there are going to be less characters and probably a lot more weapons in your pulls. Expect that. The weapon system in itself, it seems from a progression standpoint, it seems very free-to-play friendly enough. There are ways to get usable weapons that will get you throughout the game. If you want to min-max and shit, by all means, I guess, gamble, gamba, and the weapon gacha, whatever. I'm not sure if there's going to be ways to get 6-star weapons in-game, as in to just grind them out outside of the gacha. Hope they don't make weapon gacha. It's probably gonna happen. What else? The equipment system. Everyone was very afraid that it was just gonna be an RNG hellhole like Genshin with their artifacts. But the equipment system in this game, in Endfield, actually seems to be very free-to-play friendly. You craft equipment through your base, which is progressed naturally as you play more and more. The base seems like once you set it up, you can just have it farm AFK while you go play around in the combat and open world. And you have a pretty big limit of 10k for most materials. And by progressing through the base, that's how you also progress different kinds of equipment that you could craft. I think you unlock equipment recipes by first finding them out in the world. Don't quote me on that. I don't have access to the technical test. My memory is hazy. I don't have a stream pulled up right now. But the equipment system seems pretty good, to be honest. The stats are fixed, and you don't need to level them up. So there is no RNG whatsoever on the equipment. The weapons have RNG though, I think. No. Well, I know the equipment doesn't have a lot of RNG. It's fixed stats when you craft them, and you don't have to level them up to gain more randomized stats. So that's definitely a good thing. You could finish off a character. Let's just say they're more comparable to our module system in current Arknights than they are to the artifacts in Genshin. So that's a good thing. The enemy mob doesn't look attractive like Reunion members with their masks. Yeah, the enemy mobs are pretty basic for now. They're mostly just a bunch of bandits and some Agaloy, which are just rock creatures with halos. And then there's a few unique bosses, some bosses with no heads and shit. I don't know. But you're right, they don't seem that interesting as of now. They could definitely add a few more enemy types in the future. Of course, they could just look into Arknights' large roster of enemies. We could get slugs, we could get drone enemies, aerial enemies. Since there's a levitate mechanic where you get more damage against enemies that are levitated in the air, I'm definitely expecting there to be drone enemies and shit. What else? Spiders, exploding spiders. They could just copy-paste a lot of the enemies from regular Arknights and apply them. And I'd be fine with that. Yeah. What else haven't I talked about yet? So there was the equipment. What else? I think that should be it. Yeah, that should be it. So far, overall, my thoughts on the technical test is that it is looking pretty good. I love the world building. I love the presentation, the music, the sound design. The combat is currently looking rough because of the dumb AI that is constantly in need of getting babysit, or else they're gonna die against a bunch of the stronger enemies in the game. The game could use a bit more skill expression, like blocking, or dodging, or more parry systems. They'll help out when you don't have your skills active. What else? So far, the story cinematics seem very well done. I just have an issue. The in-game dialogue though, it just seems it seems dull and doesn't seem that dynamic for now. That could change, of course, in time. They could improve that. The base building looks the base building looks phenomenal. I think it is the most polished part of the technical test by far. It's the most impressive part for me, at least. Zip lines look great. The base building looks very addictive. The progression, we can't really judge the progression at all in the technical tests because it is designed to give everyone access to as much of this game as possible to test within this short period of time, so it might be different on launch. What else? I think the weapon system is actually... I think the weapon system is... The weapon system is pretty okay. Just got concerns on how impactful the weapon gacha is going to be. And how much people can grind out usable weapons without needing to go into the gacha. My opinions on that will hinge on those things. The equipment system I actually find to be pretty good. There is little to none of RNG. You craft them once, you got fixed stats, and then you upgrade them. You don't actually no, you don't need to upgrade them. And then you're good. So you could actually finish characters. What we still don't know is how impactful dupes are gonna be. They don't have the dupe system in the technical test as of now. That's kinda worrying. How we control the whole team, it's hard to control the whole team. Considering it's a mobile game. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But that could be solved with a bunch of preset behaviors that you can set to your team. Like you don't even have... They don't need to add more control, more direct. They don't need to add orders that you have to do in the middle of combat to order your team to get out of AoEs and shit. They could just add default behaviors that you'd set beforehand. Just gotta improve the AI. Should they add raids to the base like reclamation algorithm? Honestly, that sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a fun game mode to add a tower defense mode, an Arknights Endfield. Great idea, actually. But it should not be that shouldn't be in your main farming base, because that's gonna feel like bullshit if you have to defend your base every now and then against swarms of enemies. They destroy your setup and then you have to rebuild them. Now that's annoying. There should be a separate area that's getting attacked by enemies that you have to defend, that is completely separate from your farming base that you need for your materials. But that is a fun idea. Are there other game modes? I don't know. Oh, yeah, right. The domains that they have in the game that you use for sanity. The domains. Yeah, it's directly lifted off of Genshin. Personally, I don't like it. I don't like the domains yeah, these are your dailies. You're gonna go into the domains to farm out XP materials or ascension materials or whatnot. They're pretty short, they're pretty basic. It's around 3 rooms with a few enemies to kill within each room. It feels very archaic, not gonna lie. I wish that they add a dungeon system, like proper MMOs that you could go in and then explore, and then you have trash mobs, you have bosses and shit. That would be a great gameplay loop. Since weapons have a slot where you farm randomized artifacts for, each and every weapon has a slot that you could get, that you could input a randomized artifact in, and this will be the RNG of the game. You get these from farming enemies in the world, apparently. So I could see the reward system of a repeatable dungeon to have that. What else? What else? Yeah, that should be it. I want to see dungeons. Pretty good. There should be some way in order to farm those weapon artifacts. Dungeons would be a great way. Or different game modes aside from the copy pasta domains from Genshin or the XP. Domains are boring as fuck. Not gonna lie. Do I want an Abyssal Tower? Fuck it, go for a Horde mode. Not just an Abyssal Tower, make it... Bring IS into Endfield. Bring a roguelite mode into Endfield. Go whole hog, not just Abyssal Tower. Bring the whole fucking roguelike dungeon in it. That would be a fun game mode. Like you randomize different effects. You get runs where you only have caster runs and shit. That would be fun. So anyway, there's that. A lot of things to learn. That there are a lot of things that Hypergriff can apply from OG Arknights to Endfield. How much things will translate from one to another, we don't know just yet. So far, the Endfield technical test, I think, is a resounding success. Not gonna lie. So far, the bugs have been few and far between all the streamers that have been streaming it. If they haven't been actively seeking out the bugs, at least. CC? Whatever, fuck it, throw it in. Throw in all of the OG Arknights game mode into Endfield. Fuck it, do it. Whatever, more content. More content is always great. Do it. Just do it. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So anyway, that is that. I'm very much enjoying the technical tests going on right now. They are currently going to have they have signups for a new technical test coming soon, but is only for Bilibili streamers. So we can't sign up for that just yet. I couldn't sign up for this technical test because I didn't have a CN account to begin with, nor a Chinese phone number to even apply. So that's that. We're still gonna have to wait until there's a global technical test to try it out ourselves. But so far, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. So anyway, will Arknights become Dark Souls then? What I feel is that Endfield should at least match the perceived complexity of OG Arknights. Because it'll be kind of pathetic, not gonna lie, if Endfield the bigger, higher budget video game is easier than original Arknights. That's kind of pathetic if you think about it, right? So hopefully, they find a way to scale the difficulty of the game to make fun game modes that actually make your builds, your build-up characters worthwhile. Because that's a problem that's common in many gacha games, is that you build up many characters, but then there are no game modes that allow you to use them to their fullest potential. It's always easy baby mode for most of the game. So game modes like CC, game modes like IS are very much appreciated for the hardcore sweats. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna refill my water for a hydration break, and I'ma be right back. Use the bathroom if you want. I might use the bathroom while I refill my water and be right back. And then we are going to be reviewing the latest episode in Arknights Perish in Frost, because we had our girl Kelsey and Monster premiere in the anime. I might be right back in a bit. I hath returned. Testing my check. Cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns. Okie dokie. Hold up, let me just do some housekeeping in the base. The base is finally gonna leave beta, and then we're gonna have it in Endfield. I mean, I wish they actually update the base system in OG Arknights. I mean, like, can we at least get some more features in the base? Please, John Hypergriff Lowlight. Can we finally get out of the base beta? Please, John Hypergriff Lowlight. Okay, so, there's that. Right, let's get this intro for the YouTube video. Just gonna do some stretchies. So, hello friendos, my name is Nez, and today we're going to be reviewing Arknights Perish in Frost. Actually, wait, nope, whoopsie, my be right back screen is still... Wow. Wow. There we go. There we go. then leave that for 10 minutes like last time. Let's try that again. Hello, friendos. My name is Nez. And today, we're going to be reviewing Perish in Frost, episode 14 of the Arknights TV anime. So, a lot of things has happened. Last episode was actually pretty well done, in all honesty. It subverted all my expectations. Faust was definitely the highlight of the last episode, and the way they handled his death was a lot better than the way they handled it in the game. It was much more fleshed out. It actually got the heartstrings tugging. And I think this is a turning point in the anime in that they are definitely keeping up the quality seemingly all the way up to the end now. Because this episode has been rock solid. It's not great, but it's not it's not bad like some of the episodes we got this season. But actually, it's pretty solid. The pacing has been okay. The animation has been at least on what do you call that? The animation has been on point. We only got to see one fight in this episode, but it was actually a pretty banging fight. We finally got a reveal of a very fan favorite entity in the world of Arknights. So overall, I actually enjoyed this episode. It didn't get the blood pumping like last time, but this time it was a lot more subdued. We're kind of dealing with the ramifications of what happened last episode. We got different factions making their decisions leading up to the supposed climax of the Frost Nova arc. We're seeing... We actually got... Okay, wait. We actually got characterization for a bit more characters than we expected, because finally going to the spoilers now. I hope you guys I hope you guys don't mind that we get into the spoilers immediately. This episode was actually pretty full of Grey Throat content. And that was... I'm not quite sure or remember whether Grey Throat had a bigger part prior to her fight with the upcoming fight. Okay, that's a spoiler. Anyway, Grey Throat got a bit more characterization in this episode. We got introduced to her last episode. From last episode we figured out that she definitely does not have... She has a complicated relationship with Blaze, to be frank and honest. But before that, we started out this episode with a funeral, at least a remembrance by all of the reunion members to Faust, who gave us life so that they could escape from Lungmen. The Black Cloaks are slowly whittling, not slowly, they are massacring the infected. Both citizens and reunion otherwise, all of them are getting wiped out by the Black Cloaks in this episode. Apparently under the direct supervision of Lin and the Rat King. So there's that. We got our new... I'm not quite sure whether to consider this a retcon or not to the game. It was a lot more vague that we could cope that Lin wasn't that bad. Nope, in the anime, Lin is directly responsible for the deaths of a bunch of infected, including civilians, including reunion, a lot of people in the slums. So we got that. Faust passed away. We got his archer bros just shooting grenades up into the sky in remembrance of him, saying it's never a waste of ammunition to pay their respects for the dead. That was a pretty sick line. We got Mephisto finally crumbling. His mental was in decline since last episode, but this time it's absolutely gone. That boy is gone. So reunion finally trying to make reunion. They need to escape Lungmen quick. And let me just see with the order of events. What happens after this? Oh yeah. We got Rhodes Island back with Greythroat. We got some more back and forth between Greythroat and the other Rhodes Island members. We finally got some characterization to our Liberty Bird girl. She's got, let's just say, a complex relationship between her and the infected. Because as we learn later on in this episode, that Greythroat is not in fact infected, and yet she still fights with Rhodes Island. Amiya questioning whether one day she'll still keep it up, or one day she'll leave Rhodes Island behind. Who knows? But we do get that answer by the end, because apparently we switch up again, and we're back to Chen. Chen was talking to her informant, Only One. That's her her secret code name? Her code name when she's infiltrated Reunion. Only One has been informing Chen on all of their movements. But after seeing all of the Black Cloaks decimate Reunion and the infected in the slums, Lin Yusha did say that to stay away from the sewers of Lungmen. That's where all of the bodies have been dumped by the Black Cloaks. It definitely shook Nine to her core. She definitely saw the way that Lungmen would treat the infected, including her. She kind of lost respect for Lungmen, so I think this was a turning point in her character. We don't have much characterization for Nine within the actual game, so this is very much needed. I think this is the first time we've ever actually heard Nine's voice. She doesn't have any speaking. This is her first voice debut. Yeah. Actually, yeah. This is Nine's voice debut. So that was pretty interesting. She's got a deeper voice than I would have expected, at least. But it's pretty cool. She is a cool mommy. So yeah, she's lost pretty much all respect for Lungmen's by the way that they handle dealing with the infected and Reunion. Because Wei Yanwu is definitely in line with the Rat King in how this all went down. So Lin Yusha definitely wasn't acting on her own. It's implied that she was acting on the will of her papa, the Rat King, and they were definitely in agreement with at least Wei Yanwu in how this is a way to protect Lungmen in their own way. So Nine finally beginning her defection away from the LGD. Pretty interesting, to say the least. And then we have the most interesting part of the episode, which is the fight between Crown Slayer and Kelsey. I didn't expect it to go so hard. It was maddeningly wild. I loved all the expressions that were on Crown Slayer's face. She had that hatred for Kelsey that you only see in Zero Sanity Doctors. She wanted to try to kill Kelsey, but then actually Project Red had all things handled, but Kelsey wanted to deal with her on her own. There were consequences to actually trying to challenge Kelsey, and this we saw because she brought Monster out. Monster was absolutely brutal. That thing was not going easy on Crown Slayer. Crown Slayer was just was desperately trying to dodge Monster's attacks. She was trying to hit Kelsey with her throwing knives. Kelsey actually being very flexible and dexterous apparently because she could dodge all of the knives. Like, hot damn. Well, yeah, of course, she is a warrior. She was a warrior many years into her past, so I guess it's not that surprising. So Crown Slayer easily taken care of by Monster, almost getting obliterated by his beam breath. Apparently he went too far. So yeah, we got some reveals that Lyudmila, Crown Slayer's real name. We got some reveals for the anime onlys that she and Kelsey actually have history with each other. It involved her parents, who were scientists studying the sarcophagus, which is the device where Doctor was first rescued from in season 1 for the anime onlys. So, they were researching the sarcophagus, and the Ursa's government somehow found out because Misha and Alex's father betrayed them to protect both Misha and Alex. And that's how Crown Slayer's parents got killed. And that's how Sergei got killed, with Crown Slayer giving them some payback. So she's definitely bouncing all over the place. Kelsey confronting her in what she really wants to do. Does she just want to extend her pain to everyone? Does she want to make everyone infected? She was going easy on her because her father was her pupil and her friend, Kelsey's friend. Told her to get away from all of this. And yeah, taking that advice, Crown Slayer peaced out within the mist that she made. And then we got the signal that Frost Nova finally arrived in Lungmen with a tiny little frost breath coming out of Project Red. That was a nice touch on the animator's part. So Project Red and Kelsey, their scene's done. What happens after this? Oh yeah, last scene. Frost Nova and Yeti Squadron have finally arrived in Lungmen, but apparently, Yeti Squad is getting wiped out by the LGD for some reason. So even they are on the back foot by this part in the timeline. This is finally going into the Frost Nova section of this entire arc. It's going to be exciting moving forward. Hopefully next episode, if I'm predicting it right, next episode should be the full Frost Nova backstory. And that's gonna be exciting. So, overall, I think this was a very solid episode. The fight between Kelsey and Crown Slayer was very enjoyable. It was very well animated, lots of great keyframes on the faces, their expressions, especially on Crown Slayer and Kelsey's face most of all. Kelsey, not gonna lie, she has a pretty unexpressive face, but it works. It works. The bitch knows how to put on a bitch face, especially when dealing a shit ton of damage. Anyway, hey yo, Kuro! Hi, hope you have a nice day. Thank you for the €2 donation. Thank you for the super chat, friendo. I do appreciate it. I am having a nice day. Thank you for asking. So yeah, it was a pretty solid episode overall. We only have 2 episodes left in Arknights Perish in Frost. The quality seems to have finally tapered off in a reasonable place, unlike those 2 episodes before. I'm definitely expecting the Frost Nova backstory to take place next episode, and then the final episode should be the big confrontation. We got 9 defecting from the LGD and deciding for herself that she can't leave the infected in Lungmen after seeing how both Yen Wu and the Rat King have decided to just purge everyone with the Black Cloaks. 9, gonna be an interesting character moving forward for the anime onlys to take note of. But yeah, that has been Arknights Perish in Frost, episode 14. Overall, a solid episode with some solid action, solid characterization, and some plot beats that will definitely be important moving forward into the climax portion of this Frost Nova arc. Once again, my name is Nez, and thanks for watching. If you friendos have any thoughts of your own on this current episode, leave them down below. But until then, I'ma see you all next time. Bye-bye, friendos! Okay, that should be the review. That should be the review done. Monster can beam a laser thing. Only Monster in CBT could do that. So yeah, that was actually interesting. We've never seen Monster beam a laser in the game, if I remember correctly. Monster's always been more of a melee type of character. But it is what it is. I think it was a very nice artistic touch for the anime to do that. I mean, we can't have Monster tear Crown Slayer to shreds, so might as well show him do some Godzilla shit, which I don't really mind. It was cool. The rule of cool took precedence here. I liked it. I don't mind the change too much. So anyway, that's that. We did a lot of things today. We did an hour-and-a-half long impressions discussion on Endfield. There was that. I also I did some explaining on how a certain post of mine on Reddit about the Baldur's Gate 3 writer enjoying Lonefield went viral. So that went beyond my foresight. It kind of went all over the place. It went viral. A lot of people shared it now. My bad. My bad. I'm so sorry to the BG3 writer that they had to lock their account to keep the weebs out for now. My bad. Do not bother them. Do not bother them, chat. Do not harass them if you don't like lesbian shipping. Please do not do that. But anyway, there's that. So our stream schedule this week will be... We'll be streaming on the 15th when the AX stages finally go live for Lone Trail. We will be doing the challenge modes for EX. We'll also be doing the secret special stages and whatnot. That'll be fun. Next weekend, we will also be reviewing episode 15 of Bearish and Frost. What else? Not much after that. I don't really... So we have a stream on Wednesday. We have a stream in the weekend, and that should be it. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream in between that. Maybe we could play some Satisfactory again? We played Satisfactory before the technical test. Just to get used to base building and shit. But I didn't realize how much Endfield would actually be very, very much like Satisfactory in Factorio. So maybe it would be fun to do another Satisfactory stream. That might be a good idea. Or I could open up Death Stranding and we could start a playthrough of that. That would also be cool. I've been meaning to do more variety outside of these Arknights streams. Just so I could keep my old subs happy. Because I've been doing a lot of Arknights content for the past few months. I did more variety for the last few years on YouTube. So I should at least feed some of my older subs and give them some actual variety gaming. Death Stranding would probably be a good idea. FF14. More FF14 streams would also be a good idea since I need to get into the Fall Guys collab of that. I need to farm that event to get my Fall Guys skins and shit. I should definitely return to FF14 one of these days before the collab ends. So yeah, that should be it for this stream. I did a lot of talking. I think my mouth is pretty tired. Huh? That's what she said. So anyway, I will be peacing out for now. If there are any... Hold up. If there are any streams that are still doing some Endfield stuff, I think... How do I raid? How do you even raid on YouTube? What? I don't know how to do this. Yeah, I wish it was as easy as Twitch. Twitch raiding is a lot easier. So anyway, whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna peace out for now, friendos. Thanks everyone to stop by for our discussion stream. Once again, my name is Nez and thanks for watching. I'm gonna see you all next time. We'll be doing EX stages very soon. Goodbye, friendos. Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye.